Hello everyone, thank you for coming to this talk. We are going to talk about the migration from Confluence to Odoo Knowledge. I hope this is helpful for every one of you. So, starting with it, this is the agenda. We are going to make a quick introduction about myself and the company, the background for the talk, some challenges that we faced and probably you will face if you try the same solution, the same approach, and the solutions that we could take on it. We will make a quick demo and a small sneak peek about the AI, now that these days, as you saw today in the keynotes, the new AI possibilities that we have in Odoo. And finally, we will end with a question and answer section. So let's start. I am Miguel Ángel, I come from Spain. I have more than 70 years working in the sector and more than 8 working directly with Odoo. And I work as a software engineer in BrainTech, where we have already digitalized more than 400 companies with 85 employees across 16 locations and in different countries. The company is already 25 years since it began, and working with Odoo already 16 years. From these countries, we are already a gold partner in Switzerland, Germany and Austria, and we have already been nominated several times during these years, from which for these years we won already the best Odoo partner from Europe. And obviously we are 100% dedicated to Odoo and has the most certified Odoo experts worldwide. Already saying that, here you have the QR code that you can use for the question answers. You can start to drop your questions in the pad already while we are making the talk, and at the end, as I said, we are going to ask all the questions. So a little background: as many other companies, we were using Confluence as an external tool in the beginning for the documentation. What happens, as usually for everyone, is that you start to have to jiggle between different applications, because you have some content on this one, some content on the other one, you don't know where to find it, you start to run in problems, you duplicate information, and so on. So it has become a moment where Odoo is more a mature product, and we can take advantage of Odoo Knowledge. So the idea was to migrate to Odoo Knowledge all the content that we have in the external tools, in this case in Confluence. And now that we have this opportunity, try to make it a helpful tool for everyone that we can help in this journey if you want to start doing the same as we did. That being said, let's start with the challenge and solutions. I will disclose this in 4 main challenges, and then a list of smaller challenges and the solutions that we take that probably will be the ones that you can already use also in case that you try to apply the same approach. First one, you have to notice that we have different kind of access rights and users working in the different platforms. Here you can see in the first 2 images above the Confluence, where we have in the first one a restricted page where only my colleague and myself can access to that page. And in the other one we have an open page, but only for the people on that space. In Confluence, we don't only have users, we have group users, we have access rights for the spaces, and we could even have guest users that has other kind of permissions. Obviously, if we want to avoid security leaks, we need to be sure that we are replicating this correctly in Odoo. The most basic cases is the ones that you can see below, where we are replicating the cases from above, from Confluence in Odoo Knowledge. So the first case is a Confluence knowledge article coming from a Confluence page that was restricted and now is still restricted. So by default, you don't have access, and only the specific users list will be able to have access and, in this case, edit the knowledge article. In the second case, we have a knowledge article that is public for everyone. You have to notice also that in Confluence, we have the information spread in spaces the majority of the times, but in Odoo we don't have spaces. What we have in Knowledge is 3 main sections that are workspace for all public articles. We have share section where we have all the articles that are shared between 2 or more users. And finally we have the private section where only the articles of each user is visible for that own user, not for anyone else. So based on that, you have to think how to map these users. The best approach for this case, in my opinion, is to try to replicate the same users that you have in Knowledge in Confluence to Knowledge. And you can do it this very easily with the email address, for example. This way you can map and identify the users and try to apply exactly the same access right. That being said, the next point that could give a lot of problems is the comments and inline comments that we can use in Confluence. This is a feature that many companies are using to give immediate feedback in the different pages. And we can differentiate between two types of comments. The first one that you can see above are what we call the inline comments. These comments are linked to a text that is highlighted in this case in the page in Confluence. And the users can give feedback one to another. Obviously, if you don't want to lose this valuable information, you have to migrate this to knowledge. The way to migrate it is to create them as typical comments, but giving a special type for these ones and being able to display them in this little icon that you can see at the top right corner. And if you notice in these comments, above them, you will see a little sentence that is the answer to the actual test in the new knowledge article, the same way that we had it in Confluence. If you don't do that, you will have some inline comments in your application, but you will not know to what text it will refer. So please take that into account when you do this. Next, you have the comments below that are the footer comments that we had in Confluence in the footer of the page. And these ones are a little bit easier to import. Just add them as you usually do some messages or log some notes in the chatter. That is the icon that you can see in the image below. That way you can keep both the inline comments and the usual comments that you had in Confluence now in Odoo Knowledge, and you don't lose any information, any feedback from your users. Next topic that gives problems is macros. In Confluence, by default, you have a lot of features that are really helpful to stylish or make the pages prettier. In this case, for example, I list here a few of them, and in this case, I'm directly marking the info panel that I have both here in this image, one for the warning panel and one for the information panel below. Above that, you have the table of content. It's another kind of macro that we have in Confluence. Why this is important? Because when you extract information from Confluence and try to import it, you will not receive the format or the style to make this look as it was looking in Confluence. You will receive just plain text and maybe an element that tells you data info panel or data warning panel, and then it's your job to edit your own knowledge article content referring to these macros to make them look as close as possible to the previous page in Confluence. So this can give a lot of problems, but in the end, if you are able to develop some styles and load them in your module, this will be really easy to achieve. So take that in consideration, because it's one of the things that will take more time for you, depending on the quantity of these kind of features that you are using in Confluence. Next is another feature from Confluence that is another app that you can use. It's really helpful. Is working like a forum where you can create any thread and the users can give their answers to your questions about them, give other feedback, and in the end you have also some metrics that you could use. In addition, you can see in the image that we have the questions and the tags. All of these can be sorted. So to not lose all of this information, in our case we were using this in a lot of time completely in the spaces, because it was really helpful for us to communicate directly and exchange feedback using the search engine that you can see in the image to find all of these questions and not repeating the same, and all of us trying to benefit from all of this feedback and experience from other people. The way to do it in Odoo is to take advantage of the forum that we have in Odoo. That is the first image that you can see in the left. So we are replicating the same questions in the forum, adding the replies inside of it, the views, the outvoting, the activities, and everything that you can find. So once you have it, why not go a little bit further? And if you had a search engine in Confluence, why not take advantage of the search engine that you have already in Odoo and even extend it a little bit? In this case, as you can see in the first image above, we are using the a search engine that you can have from any place of Odoo, just by typing some shortcuts, and you can use the operators. In our case, we use the ampersand and also the plus operator to search either directly in Odoo Knowledge articles or in the forum or in both of them at the same time. So when you start to type, for example in this case, how to, all the occurrences that you have in any of the two applications will appear here, and you can directly access them. Same goes for the image below. We added a new menu that you can find by unified search, in our case, that is doing exactly the same but inside of Knowledge, taking advantage of the features that the search bar offers you, like the filtering and other possible filters that you can create, or grouping by any field. So, apart from these challenges, we could have others that are not as big, but we have to take into account. For example, obviously, in the majority of the pages that you have, if they are prettier, you will have images, GIF, videos, or other multimedia files that you need to import, add to Odoo, and then attach to these new articles. Depending on the size of it, this could be a task of more time, but in the end should not be too complicated. Like you attach any other attachments to Odoo, you can link them later to the Odoo Knowledge articles automatically. Next one should be the links. Think that many of the pages that we have in Confluence are linking to another page in Confluence, or external links. But the problem comes when you import all of these pages. You could import them one by one, or import a whole space at once. And what happens is that the first page that you are importing, and maybe is pointing to a different page in Confluence, now will not work because does not know to what article it needs to refer now. So either you do it with some recursive function and update the links while you are adding new articles, or you do it at the end. It will not be too difficult again, but you have to take this in consideration, because if not, you will finish to import everything, and you will not have a working page links between your different articles. Next one is the error handling. It's really important to take this one in consideration, because yes, you could develop something and your developers can check always the server logs, but in the end, the migration will be done by a user that has access right to your whole content in Confluence, and it needs to know what is working, what is not working, what has been imported, what permissions has been added, what attachments I'm creating, what users I can find, what users I cannot find, and a lot more of things. And this user doesn't need to have any technical background. It needs to be able to read and to know what is happening when he is working on this migration. So my advice is to create a new menu where you can display all of these logs in detail for that kind of users. Next one is the performance. Obviously, if you are importing some small things, you should not bother too much about this. But in the majority of the cases, companies grow really large and tends to accumulate a lot of information. In our case, you can imagine having so many projects, so many employees, the amount of information that we hold in Confluence, and the amount of information that we needed to migrate. If you do it directly with the user that is migrating, with a single click, with the actions that we are creating for this, you are going to block that user for many minutes or even running timeouts. So a better way to do it, and more performance, is to create some cron jobs automatically that are managed by this tool, or directly use queue jobs, or mix up both of them, so you can work in the background while your employee still works or checks the logs or does other actions. And this way you are not blocking the system. Thinking about this, you have to think about the scalability and customization. Now that you do this, probably you have other similar tools that you need to migrate. Maybe some are bigger, some are smaller, some has different challenges that you have to take. So try to make your solution as most flexible as possible and to be scalable. That does not depend on the quantity of users you have, because maybe it works with one user, it's really easy. But maybe you have 1,000 users and you have to manage all that permissions. Or maybe you have only a few pages, but maybe you have dozens of spaces with hundreds of pages. you have to think about that if it's your case. Finally, how to do it? There's many ways to do it in the end. You could create scripts, use external applications, or now that you are using Odoo, in our thinking, the best way is to create an Odoo module that just takes advantage of the Confluence API to extract all the information that is possible to extract, and then convert it based on your Odoo module that you are custom assign, and try to convert it to your needs in the Odoo articles, in the knowledge articles that you need to create, matching the users and any other things that you could need. This way you have full control over your system, that is the system, the end system where you want to migrate everything. That being said, I will give a quick demo. I don't have access to the internal application, so I will display the video that you can find also in our page, in this link. So, displaying the video, I will explain it a little bit while I display it, so you can understand how we did it. This could help you to do the same way, or you can ask us about it, no problem about that. So we are going to migrate our Confluence to Odoo, as we said. As you can see already in the images, the output is identical. It's almost the same. Maybe it changes the font or some colors, but the output is completely identical. All the images are there, all the tables, everything is there, and you can import in a single click. Basically, you take the ID of the page or the space that you want to import, click on one of these options in the menu. In this case, I'm using the import single page because I only want to import a single page on this case.
And paste the
I insert the ID here, and here you will see that we have two options. In this first one, I will use the import page option that runs directly with your user, so it's blocking the user. Because this is a really small import, so there should not be a problem with
After
it.
a few seconds,
And in just a few seconds, you can import it directly, and the content is exactly the same as you had in Confluence. All the macros, as I told before, like the table of content is here.
Knowledge, including
All the
macros
tables,
and layouts.
the font is the one that
Entire
is using
areas can
Odoo, all the
also be
images are there.
imported.
And
As
now
before,
let's say that we
copy
want
the
to
page
make a bigger import. For example, we want to import a whole space that could have hundreds of pages. In this case, again, you take the ID of, in this case, of the space,
ID.
go again
Select
to the
import
menu,
page and children
but
in the menu.
in this case, try the first option, in our case, that is import page and children. So we are going to
And paste the
import
page ID
everything,
into Odoo
and as you can
Knowledge.
see, in this
The
case I'm
import-
using the second option, that is to strudel and import an action that will run in the background and will import everything while I can still work in Odoo or check the logs to see what is happening.
It can also be scheduled.
As you can see, we will
Ideal for
receive
larger
a
data volumes.
message that will tell us that that is being running in the
Authorizations
background.
are also adopted
Then
one to
you can check after import, or you should check, better said, that the permissions are exactly the same. You don't want to run in security leaks.
one.
In our case, we imported some
Important for
private
data
pages.
protection and
As you can see,
privacy.
it is automatically done. And what I was telling you about the links, the same, for example, in this page that we
External
imported
and
first,
internal
we
links can
imported
be
only this
updated
page,
via the
and we
menu.
imported the second page that is linked directly after that.
So all
So we
link-
can take now the article ID or the ID of the original page, doesn't matter, and click the option
Links
to
work as before in
update the
Odoo
links.
Knowledge.
Once it is done, we can click in the links, and they will work now directly to our Odoo Knowledge articles. They will not point anymore to the Confluence pages that we had before. Finally, as I said, it's really important to have some error handling. So,
The logs are
as an
also
idea,
important,
you can do something
so
similar to
everything
this. If
remains
you enter, you
traceable.
will have more details, obviously. Here you can see some
With
of the
brain
details.
text
I will run
solution
back
for
a
Odoo
second.
Knowledge remains traceable.
So here you can see that is starting the migration of a page with what user is processing the attachments for the article, which is the author that is using, which is the owner, how many pages is fetching, what links are being updated, and so on. You can continue checking everything that is being doing.
With brain text solution
Then
for
after the
Odoo
migration,
Knowledge,
it's really
all
important
content is
that you check
transferred.
that the content is the same that you
Images,
had before,
tables,
that it
info
holds all the
boxes,
images, the tables, the
layouts,
macros,
and
and
links.
all the layouts in the end,
Files
and
are
it
imported
behaves
and
as
can be
it was
opened.
behaving in Confluence. Also, it holds all the
Footer as well
attachments
as
like
inline comments are included.
the Excel files. You have all the comments that we were commenting before, the inline comments, the footer comments. You can access them, you can
You are
play
now
with them, and
ready
they
to
are
start
working.
using Odoo Knowledge.
Then, that being said, Now that we are in Odoo 19 and you could migrate it to Odoo 19, and we have been seeing today in the keynotes a lot of new AI features. Just a small idea, I have another video here for some agent. So imagine that we have already migrated some pages from Confluence and we have our knowledge articles. And now we want to, imagine you have been in holidays and your colleagues have held several meetings with a customer and you want to get up to date. Why not take advantage of the new features, create an agent and ask him directly to summary all the important points from these meetings. So we could come here directly as the AI and tell him to summarize me all the meetings that are of type project meeting, all my knowledge articles, and in a few seconds it will give me all the important points. And like this, you can do a lot of more things. Just it's on your imagination now with the new versions of Odoo and the AI possibilities that we have. With that, we will finish the presentation. Sorry, 1 second. Yeah. And now we can move to the questions. I left here the code again, so you can access the pad and make your questions if you have not done it already. And I will be happy to answer it. If we don't have time to answer all of them, you can contact me directly in the LinkedIn, or you can contact the company directly in the page, or you can visit us in the hall number 10 in the booth 5 and 6. So please feel free to make me any question and we'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks a lot.
So I got a couple of questions. Do you have experience with migrating additional Confluence apps?
I will need the name of the apps, but for example, one that we presented today, the question answer is an app from Confluence that you have to install, and probably you have to also pay some additional cost. Like that app, if you want to migrate them, you need to know if that app will give you directly an API access or endpoint from which one you can take the information. If you don't have it, then you have a problem to take the content, but there are all solutions. In the end, this is published in the website, so you could create a robot, start all that information, and take it in your system.
Okay. All right. Have you tried to migrate other tools like Jira?
No, I have not tried with Jira. I know it, but I have not tried. I guess the process will be similar, because if I'm not mistaken, Jira also has an endpoint, some endpoints in their API that you can use in the same way that did we use, so you should be able to migrate all the content. I don't know if they will have the same challenge like the macros or other ones that I presented, but I think the ideas will be really similar and you should be able to do it.
Someone's asking on which versions is this available?
We tried directly from 18. I'm pretty sure will work in 19, but obviously it has been released today. I had not tried to didn't have time to try yet, and I'm pretty sure it will work also for 17 and probably with 16 and 15, but not sure if all the features like the inline comments, because I don't remember right now if they were present in that versions. The other features, I think all of them were present in that versions.
How difficult was it to implement the styles of the Confluence macros in Odoo?
Depends on your expertise, but should not be too difficult in the end. You can check you have many tools where you can simulate all the styles. In the end, you can put your text and simulate the styles, or even you can ask now the AI to given the image to simulate that styles. So it's really easy to get some outputs that gives your files for the styling, and you just have to load them in your system. Should not be too difficult. You can even use these AI tools now for that.
All right. Did you extract all the info from Confluence API, or did you use some other tools, scrapping, etc.?
As I said before, in our case, for all the content that is content in Confluence, we could extract it with the API, one endpoint or another, but we could extract all of it. But for example, the application that is called question and answers, that one doesn't have support for the API. In that case, I was mentioning before, I use a robot, a scrapper, and in the end, we extract the information, process it, and insert in the system. Just that.
All right, cool. I think we don't have more time for more questions.
Okay.
So if someone has any questions, where can they find you?
If you have questions, you can directly contact me in LinkedIn by my name. You can contact the company, ask for an appointment, or you can meet directly with us these days in the Odoo Experience in the hall number 10 in the booth 5 and 6. We are there all day, and we can help you. We will be happy to have you there, and come and have some chocolates, because we have chocolates, so we can have a conversation while we are eating some, for example.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks to you. Thanks to everyone that has come today. See you soon.